Hey guys, today we are going to use a very simple but effective technique that you can use with any camera. A simple pocket camera, a point and shoot camera, this will work. Pretty much every camera has this ability to do this. I'm not talking about a complicated, heavy digital SLR camera. This is done with a very simple camera. So let's go ahead and take a look at the picture and I'll show you what it is. Now, first of all, this is my kid. And we were out at an alpine lake and he was playing in the sand on the beach. And several things about this picture, this image, are already pretty good. The composition's good, so I'm using the rule of thirds to kind of put him in the right place. The background is pretty interesting, and he's got a pretty decent expression, kid playing in the sand. But the one thing that I don't like about this picture is that his face is dark. And that's because if you look, you can see on the highlights right here on his hair, which is pretty cool looking. The light is actually coming from over in this direction, and so his face is in the shadow, which actually isn't a bad thing because that means he's not squinting at me. If I turned him around in the other direction and had him look into the sun, he'd probably be squinting. So this is actually comfortable for him or any of the people that you're taking pictures of. And again, puts this nice little highlight in his hair. But I don't like the fact that his face is dark. So how can we fix that? Well, there's a couple ways to fix it. And one way that some people fix it is by going into software, which is a choice, and you change the exposure. So if I change the exposure on this overall picture to get his face to be lighter, and I'm just going to drag this slider over here, and many different pieces of software will do this. So it's not just unique to the software I'm using right now. But as I make this lighter and lighter to the point that that looks pretty good. So I can see his face now. It looks a little brighter to be able to see his expression and whatnot. You see what happened to the rest of the picture. The rest of the picture has gotten to be overly bright. I mean, overly bright, blown out. And the human eye tends to look at bright objects first, like maybe these clouds. Your eyes look towards them, and so he's really not the subject of the photograph anymore. And then you lose detail in here. It washes out. You can obviously see the problems here. So I'm going to put it back to the way it was before, where the sky's a little bluer, the lake's a little bluer. But the problem once again is his face. So what do? It's really simple. When you take the picture and you're shooting so that you're shooting into a person's face and it's in the shade, turn on the flash. And every camera is a little different. You got to figure out how to force the flash to be on. But once you do that, once you learn that little trick, here's what the picture can look like. So let's take a look at this now. So this is without the flash, and then all I did was pop on the flash, and I got this picture. Now notice, it lit up his face. It also lit up a little bit of the sand over here. It gave it some really nice texture because the light is now coming in from multiple directions, but also from the direction of the flash. And look at his face. It's all lit up, and we can see his expression just again. And we did not lose any of the color or saturation of the sky, etc. in the back. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first picture. See, his face is dark, and the background looks nice though. Here the background's still nice, and his face is nice and light. The other thing I wanted to point out as well, so same cropping, same subject matter, but the other thing I wanted to point out as well is take a look at his eyes. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, so let's zoom into his face. All right, take a look at his eyes here where the flash did go off, and in a moment I'm going to go to the next one and look in his eyes and see another difference a flash makes, which is really an added bonus. Okay, so check it out. He's got these little sparkles. It's the flash reflection going off in his eyes, and those are called catch lights. And those are things that you definitely want to put into the eyes of people or animals that you're taking pictures of, because it makes them come alive, especially dark eyes like I have and like my son has. Without those catch lights, the eyes can look kind of flat. And there's a little bit of shine in his eyes there, and coming from the sand. But once you turn on the flash and you get those catch lights, see how his eyes come alive? So that's an added bonus. If you look at the light that's coming from over here, you can kind of tell sort of on his cheeks, on the bottom of his nose. That's because it's coming from the sand over here. It's just reflecting off of there. But when you use the flash, once again, we'll take a look at the sand, how it changes as well. When you use the flash, it lights up his face, and the shadows, definitely the light comes from a very different place. So there's a real simple tip for you. All you need to do is figure out how to manually turn on your flash. You probably may not be able to do that if you stay on complete auto mode. So look into your owner's manual, figure out how to turn on that flash, and then as a bonus thing to figure out, if you're going to figure out how to turn on your flash, figure out how to make the flash power a little bit stronger, a little brighter, or a little bit dimmer, a little bit weaker. And that'll come into play if you want to punch up the light. Let's say your subject is a little bit farther away from your camera, or if you want to pull it down a little bit because they're closer and you don't want to blow out their face as well and make them too bright. So find out how to turn on your flash manually so you can make it either fire on purpose or not fire on purpose. And then the second thing, if you can, figure out how to make it a little bit brighter or a little bit dimmer. So there's your tip for you. And you can get really nice pictures with a pocket camera, a point and shoot camera, with that one simple trick. Just turn on your flash, face them away from the sun. You'll get some great results.